Welcome to Mock Draft Madness, day 32 of doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft on April 25th. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit, try to get a little bit of a different scenario going here because, it has been kind of similar these last couple mocks outside of the two-rounder. So at number one, as much as I want to switch it up, we're going to go Caleb Williams to the Bears here. At number two, let's go Jaden Daniels to the Washington Commanders. I saw a report today, and I don't know how credible it is, but basically it's a coin flip between what quarterback they're going to take. Honestly, if the New England Patriots are available with Drake May at 3, I think they're probably going to take a quarterback, even though if, Drake May does wind up falling to them at 3, I think this leaves the Vikings in a territory where they can get these 3 picks. Now, if they're trading up to only 4 or 5, the Vikings are trading up to 4 or 5. I don't think it's, I still think it could possibly be this first. Some of the league thinks it'll probably be like this, or maybe even that. I just think, because of the quarterback tax, you're going to pay, especially because a team like the Giants could come in and get them. So let's kind of mess with this a little bit. Let's go with the Vikings trading up here, and we're going to give them one. We're going to give them this, and we're just going to swap that pick. So we're going to force that trade through. The Vikings are on the clock, and they're going to take Drake May. Now, I think the Arizona Cardinals are pretty much stuck on Marvin Harrison Jr., so that is what I'm going to have them do here. At number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. So, I also see them possibly trading out here for picks. I still think they probably go O-line, but if we look at kind of who's on the board here and kind of who can use a playmaker, I think it's going to be these teams right here, and maybe Malik Neighbors would be kind of that guy for the Jets. So let's have the Jets trade up here and grab Malik Neighbors and put him next to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson next to we can give him 72. Maybe they give us like 140. The reality is the Jets are in a position where they kind of have to go all in, and they can't really care too much about what it's going to cost them to win the Super Bowl because their future is kind of already based on the fact of Aaron Rodgers winning it with them the next 2 years. I don't know if this pick is necessary. I don't know if this capital is necessarily going to get it done. Maybe we do this instead, so we keep our third this year. I don't know. I mean, I think the picks are obviously discounted. The trade compensation is not going to be correct, but Malik Neighbors is now off the clock at 5. At number 6, we have the New York Giants. I think they're going to take Rome Odunze. If Neighbors is gone. Now on the clock at number 7, Brock Bowers would be a nice addition here, but I think with the talent of a Joe Alt at this position, with the value of Alt at 7, it's kind of hard to pass up on him. Another team that is interesting and could possibly make a play, I think, is the Saints. The issue is the lack of draft capital from 45 to 150 because the Saints O-line just hasn't really worked out, and they do need someone in there for Trevor Penning, and maybe you can kick him to the right side with all the Ramcheck issues. I wish I could do something a little bit different here, but the reality is they're going to want to, go with the best value if you're trying to build that line. And I know I just rambled a little bit, but Skronsky, Cushenberry, and Alt is a very nice side. I wonder, like I said, there's not really a team that could trade up here for him that I see it happening. So, yeah, we're just going to go alt here. At number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons, I'm actually going to give them Jerzon Newton. I know they need help on the edges as well, but the reality is that they kind of need help across the whole interior line. I've always had them going edge, so I'm going to give them an interior player here. At number 9, we have the Chicago Bears. Honestly, all my top options are off the board, and while I like the idea of taking, a Fuaga or a Byron Murphy or a Dallas Turner, like Brock Bowers is also a nice pick here, but I don't know if that's somebody that I'm going to want at this value. I think it's like, it depends on how you view Brock Bowers. I view him as more of a weapon. I think he could work in this offense. But I think if you're thinking more of long-term and what's going to benefit the Bears, you'll probably move back. But there's no guarantee that your guy is there if you move back, obviously, as anyone that moves back. So I think a team that could possibly come up for Brock Bowers is the Colts. I think they don't really have a dominant tight end, and the reality is you want to give Anthony Richardson as many weapons as you can. So maybe, let's force that trade through. We gain a second-round pick, and the Colts are now going to be taking Brock Bowers. At number 10, we have the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock. They are going to be taking probably Fuaga at this position because now they have a first-round pick. Obviously, they have 2 seconds next year and 2/3. So we're going to go Fuaga and really build up that line. At number 11, we have the New England Patriots who have picks 11 and 23. They do need to build up their offensive line. They do need to go receiver. I think the idea of going a Troy Fautanu here could make a lot of sense because he can play all 5 positions and he can provide that level of versatility for you. So I'm going to go Fautanu to the New England Patriots. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos on the clock. I think this is an interesting spot for them because, like I've said before, like they just kind of need players. So I do like the idea of giving them a guy like a Dallas Turner because they just need the best player available, and that's probably going to be one of these guys here. So I'm going to give them, I'm going to give them Jared Verse, actually. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. They could use a lot of help in terms of corner. They have Christian Wilkins. I don't really want to address the line right here. I do think with a right tackle, that could also be a play because you could also grab a guy like a J.C. Latham and play him at guard and also play him at tackle if needed. And they do kind of have some questionable spots on the line outside of left tackle and center. So J.C. Latham could be a little bit more versatile than a guy like Olu Fashanu. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them J.C. Latham, because I have been going cornerback quite a bit for them. So if you want to go offensive side, that's just the way to go. At number 14, I do think they need to fix the offensive line, and I think that, obviously that is more of a need than defensive line. But with a guy like Dallas Turner on the board, it's kind of hard to pass him up. At number 15, we have the Chicago Bears. Byron Murphy would be a nice addition to them. So would Laiatu Latu to rush from the opposite side of Montez Sweat. But I also think maybe a guy like a Brian Thomas Jr. here could be a good addition because you did grab that second round pick. I do think with where the pick is at 46, you have a better chance of getting another receiver there than you do an edge. So I am going to go Laiatu Latu to the Bears to rush outside, opposite of Montez Sweat. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. All the edges are now off the board. They do need interior O-line help. Fautanu's off the board. We have Jax Powers-Johnson and Graham Barton here. The issue kind of is the fact that it's a little rich for them. I don't know if there's a team that's going to want to trade up, and I think if you want to go best player available because you do need to improve the D-line, we can just go Byron Murphy as the BPA and see what he can do to really add another layer of pass rush to that Seattle line. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. I do think they're probably going to go corner here with all the edges off the board. They have their interior offensive linemen figured out right now. I don't think tackle's completely out of the picture. So maybe getting a guy like, an Amarius Mims. If we go to the depth chart of the Jaguars, and we look at where the tackle is, I know they have Cam Robinson. The one thing I do wish, I know we can find it on other sites, but is finding like kind of where, Anton Harrison is there, Cam Robinson is there. But let's actually go to Cam Robinson's contract, because I don't know how much longer he's under contract for. So contract details. So after 2024 season, he will be a free agent. So maybe what we want to do is get a young tackle in there and get a guy like Olu Fashanu who can play on the opposite side of Anton Harrison. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, they need defensive interior. They need tight end. They need tackle. But I don't hate the idea of them going Brian Thomas Jr. here to pair with Jamar Chase. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams with corners here sitting here like this. Cooper DeJean could be a good fit. Quinyon Mitchell can be a good fit. All these guys can be a good fit. I think the Rams will really value the athleticism of a Nate Wiggins. And for the first time in Mock Draft Madness, we have Nate Wiggins as the first corner off the board. So number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. I think they will probably go tackle. I think Mims is a good option. I do like the idea of a Jackson Powers-Johnson or Graham Barton because they can both play Graham Barton can play all five positions. Jackson Powers-Johnson can play the interior, all three of those. Marius Mims, a guy that can play both sides of the tackle. Adding a caliber of this corner, though, with the JPJ could be deadly. While that is all a need, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them Adonai Mitchell to play on the opposite side of George Pickens, just because I have been trying to do like a little bit different of a draft that I have done previously for these mocks. So now with the Miami Dolphins on the clock at number 21, I think they do need corner help. I think Amarius Mims could be a good play, but with Graham Barton and Jackson Powers-Johnson here, it's kind of hard to pass those guys up. But if we're going to take a look at the Dolphins depth chart, I think corner is definitely a need after, the top two guys. And yes, their defensive line needs help, but I don't know necessarily. I don't know. Do you go with an edge? Like, do you reach on a guy like a Chop Robinson? I just like for the defensive interior, I don't love the value here. I think it has to be offensive line. As much as I want it, you know what? I'm going to go corner, though. With these guys still on the board, give me Taron Arnold, because I just like the way he'd be able to learn from Jalen Ramsey. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles on the clock. I have gone corner here. I've gone wide receiver here. It's kind of a hard pick, honestly. If we look at their depth chart, they have the linemen, and I think tackle could be a play here. Corner, I think, is more of a need at this time. And Cooper DeJean is such an easy pick for them. I hate that I have to do this, but just what's on the board, it makes so much sense because I just don't see them going, with the wide receivers available. I don't know, unless you want a guy that's going to unless you want like a big body guy, like a Keon Coleman or like a Jermaine Burton. Well, Jermaine Burton's not a big body guy, but I think he's probably, if he didn't have character issues, he'd probably be up here. This is kind of a reach, but let's give him Keon Coleman, a little bit of a big body guy for Jalen Hurts. Guys, this is not how the draft is going to go. I know. At number 23, we have the New England Patriots on the clock. We have Troy Fautanu that was taken in the first, with their first pick. that really helps them on the interior, obviously, and at tackle if needed. And I'm lost looking for the New England Patriots. So with who's on the board, I do think they could use corner, but the issue is they have Gonzalez. That was their first round pick last year. The problem I have now is, we have Troy Fautanu. He can play either side. Owena, who's going to play right tackle. And you have Cole Strange, so maybe not interior offensive line right now. So what I'm going to do is have them trade back with the Detroit Lions, and they're going to select Cooper DeJean. I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys selecting Quinyon Mitchell. After Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs, the corner situation is kind of iffy. You lost Stephon Gilmore, and with a talent like Quinyon Mitchell available, I think that's where they'll go. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers. They do need interior O-line help, so I am going to give them Jackson Powers-Johnson. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. They need quite a bit, but with Graham Barton available, I think that is an easy selection, someone who can play all 5 positions. 26, we have the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. I don't necessarily love what is available for them, but maybe they want to get a guy that can sit and develop behind Jonah Williams and Paris Johnson Jr., because you're not necessarily trying to win right now. 28 to the Buffalo Bills. They definitely need, some defensive interior help. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give them a guy in Braden Fisk. 29, New England Patriots. They took Troy Fautanu with their first pick. Now with 29, I feel a little bit more comfortable taking a guy like a, Troy Franklin, or even what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Chop Robinson here and then grab one of the receivers with my second round pick. 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to give them a cornerback in Kool-Aid McKinstry, who can be an impact player from day one. 31 to the San Francisco 49ers. They need cornerback help. They need O-line help. I think, you could go with a guy like a TJ Tampa, but I also think it's possible that you go and get a guy like a Ladd McConkey to pair with Ayuk and Debo, because the possibility is one of those guys is not going to be there after this year. At number 32, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. With the Rashee Rice issue, it kind of puts pressure on them to go and get a receiver. So I am going to give them a guy that can stretch the field vertically with a little bit of size. They lost MVS. Give me Troy Franklin out of Oregon. This has been Mock Draft Madness Day 32 of select no more than 3 teams for this feature. Mock Draft Assistant. I don't know what that is. Anyway, Mock Draft Madness Day 32. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. It was a little bit different today, but I kind of liked it. After doing this for 32 days straight, you kind of get in a monotonous mode of picking the same players to the same teams. So I wanted to switch it up a bit. Thank you guys so much. Leave trade suggestions in the comments. I will try those out. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.